the first part of the will of Alfred Nobel, just an enlarged copy there. If you try to read it, it's in Swedish, but that first part there is mostly names of people that he gave smaller sums of money in comparison to what he left for the Nobel Prize. Alfred Nobel was never married, and he didn't have any children. So the family that he had was the family of his brothers. His two older brothers had a lot of children. So he did have a big family that should be awarded by a committee in Norway. The other three institutions, he named them, they already existed, but he hadn't contacted them to ask if they wanted to do this. So they were a bit reluctant. It took a while, but in the end they also did.
But there wasn't money allocated specifically for the running of it?
Not in the beginning, but they created the Nobel Foundation in 1900 that wrote the statute of the Nobel Prize. And in here it says that they do get not that much, a little bit of money for his work. So yeah, no, we didn't mention a lot of things, but in this is the rule book, so all the details were written down. So nowadays, everything is very strict and formal. And so the announcement is usually at 11 o'clock here in Stockholm, and the final vote is taken in the morning, like 9 o'clock. So they vote, make a decision, and then they phone the people that they decided. They phone them and they tell them the news. So this is a secret. Nobody knows. If you're nominated for the Nobel Prize, you don't know. It is secret. So people nominating are not allowed to tell anybody who they nominated. People participating and working in the committees, they don't usually tell anybody. There have been a couple of leaks in history, but usually not that much. So everything is a secret. So the only people that find out are the ones that are actually chosen that year. And it is secret for 50 years. But after 50 years, they release the names of the nominees. So you can actually find them online. You can see people being nominated 50 or 60 years back in time, but not last year or 10 years ago. So this is important to remember that, because I always get a bit annoyed when I read like in media that this and this person was nominated. It's purely speculation, even if they like to portray it like they're sure, but it is speculation. It's never confirmed by the committees. So for example, Donald Trump saying he was nominated for the Peace Prize a couple of years ago, he was just guessing. There's no way of actually knowing. And in 50 years' time, we will know because they released the material. Yeah.
In the last display over here,
yeah.
I can't see it, but is that a number? Could you read that number to me, please?
The 1934 and 109.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's the number of the nominee. So they put a number. So that's nominee number 109. That's an interesting nomination letter, by the way, or it's a telegram, which was quite usual back in the days. It's a telegram nominating Carl von Ossietzky, another journalist, I think the first journalist to receive the Peace Prize. And he received the prize in 1934, as it says there. He was a German journalist who very early on reported, he wrote for a newspaper called Die Weltbühne, and he reported on Germany starting to arm up, which they weren't allowed to after World War I, and Hitler and what he was doing. So he was one of the first political prisoners in the concentration camps, and when he received the Peace Prize, he was still in the concentration camps. Hitler was very angry about this Nobel Prize. He forbade all German citizens to ever say yes to a Nobel Prize. And they did not let him out. He unfortunately died, I think, in 1938. So he wasn't able to come and receive his prize. And this is a fact for some of the peace laureates, that it's not the first time that somebody who is imprisoned received the Peace Prize. That does not mean that they don't get the prize, in the sense that usually the family still, or somebody from his family or somebody is able to come and receive the prize. If you officially decline the Nobel Prize, you don't get it, but you don't have to come here. So these are two different things. There were a lot of speculations a few years ago on Bob Dylan, who did not come here, but he never declined the prize, so he still got it. If you officially decline, that's happened 2 times only. The most, Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre was the most famous for the Literature Prize in 1964. And he said that as he had to explain himself to media who was asking, he said as a writer, he wanted to be free and not connected to any prizes or prize awarding institutions. Since the decision that they make is always final, Jean-Paul Sartre is still mentioned in all the lists. We have him up there, but he says that he declined. So this means that they don't change their mind and say we'll give it to somebody else.
Who's the second?
The second was Le Ducteau. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. During the Vietnam War, it was Henry Kissinger and Le Ducteau, the 2 parties in the peace talks. They received the Peace Prize before the Vietnam War was over. So Le Ducteau said, I cannot accept this prize because we haven't seen the result yet. And Henry Kissinger did not decline it, but I've heard rumors that he tried to kind of give it back after, because people criticized the fact that he did not decline it. But you can't, if you say yes to the prize, you can't change your mind afterwards and try to give it back either. So yeah, that was the second. And then there was also Boris Pasternak, who is kind of declined it in a sense. Any other questions? Let's have one more look, one last stop to see our gallery where we have objects from Nobel laureates. So we're going to go in this direction.
May I urge as recipient for next Peace Award Karl Wojciechowski of Germany, whose claims seem paramount importance, Jane Addams. Nobel Peace Prize Committee, Oslo. The Telegram.
On the wing. As an adolescent, I dreamed of big things. Climbed to the top of the mountain to see the scene. Petty wap don't want me to have anything. I'm the captain, no jet lag. Boeing jet swag. Floating to the sunset, keep the drinks coming back. She summoned me, gave me turbulence on the sink. Pretty flight attendant boarding pass, I'm a buddy. Stunting first class, vegan meal yummy.